On Monday, Kevin Hart would appear on The Breakfast Club in order to promote his upcoming series, True Story, a dramatic miniseries he's starring in alongside Wesley Snipes. In the interview, Kevin was asked about some fans saying he's not as funny as he used to be and not the same Kevin that he once was. He would go on to express that he feels we should be allowed to change and him getting older is why he's no longer raw. Today we have our comedy hype analysts, Vanessa Fraction, Capone, and Pierre calling to the show to talk about Kevin's comments, and we have to ask, what do you guys think about Kevin's outlook on people saying he's not as funny? But first, let's take a look at this clip.
You were coming out. You know, everybody knew Kev. But now it's like Kevin's a different Kev. Like he's not the same Kev.
Yeah, I think that's the part that makes me laugh. You know, when people want. I was having a conversation when I was doing an interview, and they were talking about stand-up. Actually, this was in All Smoke, where, you know, they were like, well, how do you feel just about people when they go to you and they go to you being funny and they say, man, you were funnier back then, or you used to be funny, you used to be raw. And it's like, well, yeah, because you used to be different. So when you grow up, your energy changes. That's right. You know, you're not fast all the time. Like that's why people get slow, right? Usain Bolt is fucking amazing, but he can't run the same time now that he ran then. Like as you get older, you fucking change. So it's almost as if people are afraid to embrace that change. That's right. Like that you're afraid to embrace the different versions of you, you know, and you don't get worse, you get better.
That's right.
You do get better. So the world where people put you against yourself just doesn't make sense. Like if you're comparing me to me and you're
Now I just want to jump straight into it. Pierre, I'm going to start with you. What are your thoughts on that clip? Like what do you think about Kevin Hart saying that he's, you know, his thoughts on people saying that he's not as funny?
First of all, Kevin's a friend of mine, and I respect his career and his path. I think also if he doesn't do comedy, he can run to be a politician. You know, I like the way he answers questions and says stuff. Is always like, okay. I understand what he's saying. He hears the noise of people saying he's not as funny as he used to be. Trust me, that's why they bring it up on different shows all the time. But you know, it's kind of rare. Like Def Comedy Jam, when it first came out, it was new, fresh. You know, you hear people say that, talk like that. Then as the years gone down, it started dwindling down, and they kept trying to bring it back and bring it back. It's not the same. So sometimes, you know, you can't make what they say, the first impression. You can't repeat that again. And people's tastes change too. Now Kevin he put out so much work so quickly and all the time that you can't maintain a certain level of that of hilarity forever. You know, he put out too much stuff. He didn't give a break. We saw him on everything from TV to movies, to concert, to everything, constantly over and over. And it wears on people. Everyone can't maintain, even Chappelle and all them, they took a hiatus, or Cat Williams would take a hiatus. Kevin Hart never takes a hiatus and stuff. And so we don't get to miss Kevin Hart. You know, he's always in our face and stuff. And when he says the comparison about Bolt, the runner, and not being the same, well, that's a physical thing. You ain't gonna be as fast as you was when you're 25 years old, when you're 40 years old. It ain't happen. Now, for him to say that, is he saying that we only liked him because he was physical and now he's slowed down, he ain't funny? So it was the physicality that we liked and not the humor? Because the humor could say the same. Now, if he say, I'm chilling now, I'm resting now, I don't do all the flips, the jumps and all that. Well, nigga, is the comedy still the same? But you're still funny. And don't make it seem like we only liked you because you were physical, because I think he was a brilliant comic and so forth. So, and it's, like I said, he's mature, yes. And the audience sometimes does want you to be who you were. But some people will fall off because they were crazy about you in the beginning. And that's a natural. Some people will fall off on some followers. So with that being said, his crowd has fallen off a little bit, you know, of who first liked him. But it's all right. You know, he's doing a different thing. He's supposed to evolve and change. So I salute him for changing.
Your comment is about as long as Kevin's was, and I still ain't sure what your answer is.
Really? You didn't understand? Well,
you said
now I want to bring up something now.
Capone, but it's an understanding. It's not. If you don't understand it, that's understandable.
I'm messing with you.
Capone,
no, it's okay.
Somewhat, I am.
Capone, I know
now
you work.
Your turn.
Capone, I'm gonna go straight to Capone. Hey guys, I want Capone to jump in because I know Capone has worked directly with Kevin on Paper Soldier. So I'm interested to know. You know, Kevin talks about he feels like he's evolved over this time. So as someone who has worked directly with him, I want to get your thoughts on that, Capone. Do you think he's evolved? And, you know, what are your thoughts on his outlook on people saying he's not as funny?
I think the only problem that Kevin Hart has is Kevin Hart worries about too much of what people say. I would hate to be in Kevin Hart's shoes, because I would hate for people to see me in Kevin Hart's shoes, because I would tell them all to kiss my ass personally. Because, I mean, like he said, whatever makes him happy makes him happy. Yeah, you have fans, but your art and your creativity is what brought those fans in. Just stay who you feel comfortable with. and stop worrying about everybody that talks. And I think that his camp needs to tell him to stop answering every question to what people think about him. That's it. People gonna have they thoughts, period. That's the way I feel about it. Yes, he has evolved.
Vanessa, I want to come to you. I know you kind of commented on what Pierre had to say, but I'm interested to know your thoughts. What do you think about Kevin's outlook on people saying he's not as funny?
I feel a little bit like Capone does. I wouldn't be answering those questions. He said he feels like he's funnier now. If he truly feels that way, then rock with it. You know what I mean? The people that were with you when you began, the people that loved you, he was talking about how he grew. Well, sometimes those people don't, as he mentioned, and sometimes people grow in another direction. And when it comes to comedy, it's all about what you're feeling in the moment. So yes, some people jump ship, you know what I'm saying, as you continue to grow, and some people are jumping into your new ship because they're agreeing and understanding what you're going through too and evolving with you and like the direction that you're going in. And then some people never left, you know what I'm saying? And you have to be truly happy with that type of thing, because that's why people get a divorce. Sometimes, you know, as we grow, as the years go, we're not gelling the same way that we used to. And that doesn't make you not a good person. It just means you might be better suited for somebody else, and I'm gonna go find something that's better suited for me. And that happens in comedy as well. But it's all about the journey. And to me, Kevin Hart seems to be having a very successful journey. So I would probably steer more toward what Capone is saying and just standing in my kingdom and just really enjoying it. I understand the check-in. You know,
so let me ask this then, because what we can't ignore is Kevin did mention, you know, he's gotten older, so he feels that has something to do with it. And I think you brought it up, Pierre, where he does say, like, you know, well, I'm not who I know.
What you saying? Thank you about the.
So I want to bring the next question to you, Pierre. Do you feel that comedians get funnier as they get older? You know, as you reflect back on your jokes, do you think they've evolved and gotten funnier over time? Because Kevin does say, you know, because he's gotten older, that's why people may not look at him as funny. Pierre, I'll throw it to you.
Well, I wouldn't say every comic gets funnier as they get older. That's not necessarily true. But some do. You know, if you live in this world and you change your material and you talk about what's relative, you move. Yes, we do mature. To say funnier, okay, I mean, I don't know if you want to say Kevin, what's the name? Dave Chappelle is funnier now than he was before. I don't know. Or if you want to say Cat Williams is. You know, some people can do it, keep that longevity of people liking them. Some people fall off as far as they don't evolve. They do the same material. It's not like they're still on Def Jam from 1990s when you hear them on stage and so forth. So no, not all comics do change up and mature and get funnier. Some don't. I did. So it works for me.
Capone, I'll bring that same question to you. Do you feel like comedians get funnier over time? And as you also reflect back on your jokes as well?
I don't necessarily agree with that. They get funnier. Some are funny and will always be funny. There are some cats that never been funny. They just scaled the, you know, making it by names and stuff like that. Me personally, I stay conscious, aware of what's going on. And I think that when I bring it to the funny, because it's so relevant at the time, that's what makes the difference.
Well, I think this: the two people we named, Cat Williams and Dave Chappelle, as being funnier, getting funnier, however, because they also have more time. I haven't
seen that show recently.
Okay, but they have the same time. They have more time to put in their act. Where Kevin Hart has done so much stuff, movies, TVs, he don't have time to focus on his act as those boys do. Those boys aren't in movies and TV shows all the time. No, Dave Chappelle's not, and Cat Williams, they have time to work on their act constantly and do stuff. Well, Kevin Hart is a busy man. He does 1,000 things and then try to do a stand-up comedy act. An act takes time to work on it and mature and work on it. And it's hard when you're doing 1,000 things. So sometimes it might slip a little bit. That's my perspective.
Can I ask this question? I know Dave Chappelle known for writing mostly all his material. Does Kevin write his material, or does he have writers? Because that could be the question. I mean, that could be part of it also. You know, writing for somebody, because I know he has a cast of writers as well for his stand-up shows, and maybe the writers ain't doing what they supposed to be doing to change the whole scenario of things.
Right.
I love you, Capone. I love you, Capone. You asked a question and you answered it too. Does he have writers? And he has writers.
And I think that's a great point of view, though, that adds a different level of it, because so many times we see Kevin and it's like, hey, we're putting it all on Kevin. But I think you bring a great point, Capone. It could be the writers. But I think regardless of if you think Kevin has evolved with time or not, Pierre, you hit on it. You cannot deny that he works hard. Every time you turn around, Kevin is involved in something. So kudos to Kevin for continuing to push forward, regardless of, the comments that are being made, with the people. He works hard and he shows it through his work. So again, I appreciate you all for chiming in. You heard from us, now we want to hear from you in the comments below. What do you guys think about Kevin's outlook on people saying he's not as funny? For Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson.
Put it in the comments.
For Comedy Hype News.
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 For Comedy Hype News, I'm Jay Will.
Looking for nostalgia? We got classic comedy films. Looking for something original? We got never-before-seen stand-up specials. Looking for funny, dope content? It's all right here at Comedy Hype. Sign up for Comedy Hype streaming platform at comedyhype.com.